thank you for joining me for the Vampire Talk Show. I'm your host, Valaine. Val to my friends. My roommate discovered my coffin under the concrete floor of the basement in her new house and woke me up from a 100-year nap. Now, I'm reconnecting with old friends, making new ones, and of course, making a podcast. Tonight, we had a peculiar guest hop right into the studio, but first, I have a bone to pick with Detroit, Michigan. On this upcoming Sunday, March 24th, 2024, there is a parade happening in the Motor City that has been going on for some time. It is called, and please pardon the French pronunciation that I'm about to butcher, Marche du Nain Rouge. The Nain Rouge, which is French for Red Dwarf, is the name of Detroit's own cryptid that actually has roots in the founding of the city. Old Man Cadillac was told by a fortune teller to appease the Nain Rouge or face the consequences. Cadillac did not heed the fortune teller's advice, and instead went the complete opposite direction and insulted the Nain Rouge verbally, and then assaulted him with his cane. That's not very nice, if you ask me. Sure, if you don't want to give an offering or shake his hand, fine, whatever. But then you go apeshit on the little guy. Now, it is said that bad luck befell Mr. Cadillac due to his transgression. However, the bad luck that so happened was not a divine intervention, but hubris alone. He was charged with abuse of power and was kicked out of the state of Michigan. I doubt very much the Nain Rouge had anything to do with Cadillac abusing his power. He was simply using the Nain Rouge as a scape dwarf. Now, about this parade. Since 2010, people will go into the streets, chanting, yelling, and quote-unquote chasing out the Nain Rouge under the suspicion that if they do not do so, the city will have bad luck for the next year. Bad luck that wasn't even bad luck in the first place, according to the story. And then, at the end of the parade, they burn an effigy of the Nain Rouge and then spend the rest of their time drinking and cavorting around its corpse. In recent years, there has been an effort to stop the Nain Rouge hate. There are protesters carrying signs that implore the masses to embrace their city's cryptid instead of chasing him out every year. And to these protesters, I say, good on you, and keep up the good work. The bad luck was founded on lies when some rich guy tried to get out of a bad rap and ultimately sent him out of town on a rail. Like I say every episode, embrace, don't shun. And don't trust people who blame their own malicious behavior on unsuspecting cryptids. Anyway, let's get on with the show, shall we? My guest tonight is an old friend from the Midwest. And he just hopped right in here. My good friend, the Loveland Frogman, otherwise known as Jeremiah. Hello, Jeremiah. How are you, darling?
Oh, I've never been better, Val. Thanks for having me.
Oh, yes. No problem. So you heard me speak about the Nain Rouge, and you've actually had the opposite effect on your city. Last year, you were named the mascot of Cincinnati, and your visage was sporting a crown, no less. How does that designation of mascot suit you? Are you making appearances in public now because of it?
Well, no appearances in public. And believe me, I appreciate the gesture. The crown, people come up to me all the time trying to kiss me thinking I'm going to turn into a prince.
Oh, no.
That is not the case.
And in some places, it would be considered, sexual assault in some places. So, yes, that is very unwanted. Oh.
I do not care for it. Human women are disgusting anyway.
Oh, yes. Oh, actually.
But princesses, no thanks.
Oh, yes. No, come here. You actually have some lipstick on your cheek. Let me get that for you. There you go.
Thank you very much.
Yes, of course. Oh, well, that's a shame. So basically, you have fame that you didn't even ask for now, I suppose.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Again, I love the people of Loveland. It's not my full time home. I do pass through from time to time, and I appreciate what they're trying to do for me. And, I do have to say, too, I do feel like my story does not get told that much, but I'm a pretty interesting guy.
I think so too. I actually, I want to know, uh, is Frogman actually a misnomer? Because according to some, you have a tail. And by my recollection, frogs do not, in fact, possess tails. Can you clear up your genetic misconceptions,
I
perhaps?
do not have a tail.
Okay.
And I'd also like to clear up something else. I
Hmm.
was not shot and killed by a police officer, as
Yes,
the story goes.
I heard that.
And between you and me, and I guess your listeners, I used my magic wand to fake the iguana that they claim to have found.
A magic wand. I had no
Yes.
idea you were in possession of such an artifact. Where did you get it?
You know, it was something that was handed down to me from my family.
Hmm.
And again, a little secret, the wand is meaningless, the power is within. I compare it to the Schwartz and Spaceballs.
Oh yes, yes, or Mjolnir of Thor fame, basically. Just
Exactly.
a conduit more than the thing itself. I get
Correct.
that. Well, good on you. That's fantastic. So, you were not shot, and then you were able to escape because you manifested an image of an iguana.
Yes, I was being pursued,
Mhm.
and I was able to, as they were firing at me, I was thinking on my feet, and I was able to just manifest an iguana. And I thought, well, that's going to be a rational explanation that people are going to believe, and
Mhm.
I can have some peace again.
Although I will argue that making the iguana about 4 feet tall might have been a mistake because they're not usually that large.
I have to agree with you. Put yourself in my position. I was being chased by the police, and I just came up with the best thing I could. But yes, thinking back on it, maybe not the best way to go.
Yes, magic under duress tends to be fraught with trouble. That is for sure. Um, so since your popularity and in the past couple of years, and you're not going out and making appearances, but have you been walking among the people? Do you have like a disguise or anything that you don? I know you're quite short, but some humans are also quite short, so wasn't sure.
I spend most of my time with Nessie. I'm around the water. I stay away from people as much as I can. I think the last time that I was around humans intentionally was I played an extra in Hell Comes to Frogtown
Ah,
with the late great Roddy Piper.
yes, I have seen that film, and it is quite entertaining. And
Bit
it's
offensive to us, but it's okay.
yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. Would I be able to pick you out in is there a moment where you show up on screen?
I try to stay in the back because I didn't want to risk being found out. So
Understandable.
maybe if you look real hard, I actually haven't seen it in many, many years, but I can tell you it was a blast doing it.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. How is Nessie? I haven't seen her in forever.
She is great. I think, she's living her best life. I just all the room in the world down there,
Hmm.
and just comes up every now and then,
Hmm.
usually at night, because again, doesn't like to be seen,
Yes.
but doing very well. I
Yes.
don't get to spend as much time with her as I used to. However, you know, we still communicate from time to time,
Yes.
telepathically, of course.
Oh, of course. Of course. Um, uh, yeah, I feel like it's getting harder and harder for cryptids to actually be cryptids. In that, to be hidden, to be, they're bringing all the cryptids into the light against their will. It seems like. How do you feel about all of that?
You know, it's a great question. And I've been one of the fortunate ones that I have not had to go through that kind of scrutiny
Hmm.
and being put in front of the public eye as much as everyone else. Not that I really care for the person,
Hmm.
but Mothman has gone through a lot. And
Yes.
I don't want to I know that many of your guests have had problems with Mothman. But hey, we all got our warts, right?
Absolutely. I mean,
Especially me.
absolutely. Catch me on a bad day. It's not pretty. So yes. And the weight of fame I feel is crushing to some cryptids. And they really want to keep to themselves, but humans just are relentless. They find one thing and they focus on it and they're so obsessed, and then on to the next thing. Who knows what the next thing is going to be?
Well, and Kermit has really embraced his fame. And we tend to run in the same circles. We
Mm-hmm.
run into each other at, all the conventions that we go to.
Mm-hmm.
Uh not, he's not the nicest guy.
Yes.
Is that whole hey Kermit the Frog here? That is a complete farce. That man is out for himself. However, he has embraced all the fame and notoriety, and he seems to be doing okay. But to your point, I agree. He's doing it willingly.
Yes. Not a lot of people know. My listeners are mostly human. I have to say. Not a lot of people know that Kermit is actually not a puppet, but a cryptid. Um, and you know, sp- spawned this whole universe of Kermit the Frog. I have to ask. Frogs tend to eat bugs and flies. Um, However, you are quite large. You're not technically a frog, you're a frog man. Do you stick to the bugs and flies diet, or are you on to Big Macs and Taco Bell?
Well, thankfully, humans treat this planet terribly,
Mm,
and there is trash everywhere,
mm,
and that attracts the flies. I do consume flies in mass quantities. If I'm not in an area where there's a lot of garbage, which is rare,
mm-hmm.
I can survive on plants. Us frogs can go either way with that. So I have no problem. In fact, I'm trying to move towards more of a plant based diet
That's
and get off of flies.
that's very mindful of you. Yeah, the omnivore diet um, only makes sense, if there isn't alternatives. I feel like plant based diets are usually, better. And that's coming from a vampire where, unfortunately, there is no synthetic blood for me yet. So I do have to rely on the kindness of strangers. And by kindness, I mean hypnotized strangers.
Yeah, you want that non-GMO blood.
Yes, unfortunately, there is no such thing because
That's true.
oh, yes, yeah, it's all humans are chock full of all these chemicals and genetically modified molecules and even plastics. Like sometimes if I bite someone and drain them a little bit, sometimes I can actually taste the plastic in their blood from like all those microplastics and parabens, and I try to find hippies and such to drain, but they don't taste the best either, I will say.
Do you have a favorite? If a human had consumed something recently, is there something that you try to seek out?
I do not know why, but I do love a Cobb salad. And when a muscle bound, hunk has a Cobb salad, it's just absolutely intoxicating. And just wonderful. Although I will say that is like, the healthy version. If I'm going to splurge, I do hang around the Olive Garden quite a bit and wait for people to come out.
Oh yes, OG.
Oh yes, I love OG. Those
I
breadsticks are
really love
fire.
them because they don't serve frog legs.
Yes. No, it's a shame, frog legs. And I'm sorry to say, but not much meat on those. I don't know what the appeal is.
I don't understand either.
Yes.
I have no idea what the humans are thinking. They must have just been hard up at some point, taking anything that they could find, and now it's a delicacy.
Yes. I mean, and they always say, I always hear it. If someone tries frog legs, they're like, oh, tastes like chicken. Then why not just eat chicken? Why does it have to be frog?
Yes,
I don't get it.
I totally agree. Eat the chicken.
Yes, there's more meat on that bone than there is on frog legs.
Way more.
Gosh, humans.
We can't have big legs. We're hopping all over the place.
Yes.
They're muscular and they're functional for us. It's not food.
No, frogs are not food. They're friends.
Sorry, I feel extra angry today.
Oh no, it's totally fine. I know you're under a lot of pressure recently, especially in the last year. Being a mascot, that's a lot of weight on your shoulders, I'm sure. I actually spent some time in Cincinnati recently, and I went to Bobby Mackey's because it's on the every paranormal to-do list. And I was heartbroken to hear that it was closed down and it's slotted to be demolished. Did you ever go to Bobby Mackey's? How do you feel about it being shut down?
I think it's a shame that it's shut down. I never had the pleasure of attending any event there. I never made my way there, but I hear just tremendous things, and I'm really happy for you that you got a chance to go.
Me too.
How was your time there?
It was fantastic. I went on the ghost tour, and our ghost tour guide was quite knowledgeable and funny. I got to hear the Bobby Mackey band. The only thing I did not do was ride the bull, even though I quite wanted to, but I was harboring an injury, unfortunately, so couldn't get on the bull. I was famished and needed blood, and and it was almost dawn, and I had to get out of there. So,
Of course.
yes.
But that's what I find interesting. It's something that we have in common. Cryptids, vampires, we come out at night.
Yes.
Now, I can be in the daylight. I just don't like to, but I enjoy that we have that in common.
Yes, being nocturnal is not just, very cool and mysterious. It also helps because, the sun's rays are actually quite dangerous. uh, it's literally radioactive waves hitting you. And it's not like we don't get a little bit from the moonlight, but yes. No, coming out at night is much better than hanging out in the day. Although there are daytime cryptids, which, but they seem to be more on the cuddlier side,
Correct.
Yes.
But everyone's got their thing.
No. Some of us
Ribbit.
like to be in some of us like to be in the mud and in the dark alleyways, and others of us like to be in, flowery meadows, and, to each their own weirdness. So have you done much traveling outside of Cincinnati, or do you just kind of stick around that area in Ohio?
Well, a lot of people don't realize, but I've been around for over 200 million years.
Yes.
Been around with the big dinos. So I've traveled around this globe many, many times. One of my interesting powers that people don't know about, and I don't advertise it, I don't like to brag, but I'll pull out my trusty wand and I can do some interdimensional travel.
Oh.
I do a lot of that. It's so much better than this dimension. We don't have all the climate change and just all the negativity and people hating each other for stupid reasons. So I tend to stay away from this dimension.
I don't blame you. I do have to I do have to stick around here. I like it quite a bit. But I do spend some time in different dimensions, especially to get my hair done.
Mm.
But unfortunately, I can't stay too long in other dimensions because the blood is just different. So,
Oh, interesting.
yes. Unfortunately, only this particular dimension and timeline is the only one that can sustain me for an extended period of time. And yes, for those that don't know, me and Jeremiah go way back. Um, I actually Jeremiah is older than I am, which is something to say because usually I'm the oldest thing on the podcast. Besides Squirrel Man, of course. Squirrel Man's
Of
been
course.
around for millennia. He's been here for.
Squirrel Man, good dude.
Oh yes, I love Squirrel Man.
Oh, squirrel person though. I believe
Oh,
he
Squirrel them. Yes.
squirrel them. That's right.
I got to have them back on. Yes, and I think, and I've been away for about 100 years. I don't know if you realized, um, but I think the last time that we had a real good, like, knock 'em down, drag 'em out sort of night, the ones that kind of end at a diner, I think, wasn't that? I'm pretty sure it was during Revolutionary War times. Maybe it was post Revolutionary War. Like it had just ended. So everybody was kind of in a good mood and kind of celebratory.
That does sound familiar. And I meant to make it to whose birthday party was it?
Oh, Chupacabra?
Chupacabra.
Yes.
Say hi to him if you talk to him for me.
Will
It's
do.
been too long, but yeah, I think it's been that long. I can't believe this.
Yes, yes, it's been that long.
Golly.
I know. Well, and I've been napping for so long and that sort of thing. So, but yes, and I'm trying to remember. Let's see. We went to a tavern and I downed oh no, that was the night that I ran into George Washington and I actually got to drink some of his blood. Do you remember?
I do. You couldn't stop talking about it.
Well, and it was weird too because like it weirdly tasted like wood, like old wood. And then somebody said, "Oh, did you know that old George there has wooden teeth?" And I said, "Oh, well, that would explain why, I suppose."
That could not have tasted very good. But just to
No.
have that experience
Yes.
is something.
Yeah, I think everyone should, taste a president's blood every once in a while, Although he wasn't president at the time, but just a decorated general.
So
Um,
this begs the question: if you could drink the blood of any character throughout history, who would it be?
oh, that is such a good question. If I could drink the blood of any character throughout history, who would it be? You know what? I think who looked really tasty to me. Unfortunately, I missed him, but I've been watching his shows. Carl Sagan, he just
Ooh,
looks like he would have a nice bouquet of leather and candle wax and dirt. It just
it would go
seems.
down smooth.
Oh yes, with just a hint of cashmere in the background. He just exudes luxury to me, and not to mention, I mean, very intelligent, and I would love to talk to him, and but yeah, c'est la vie. We
That's a
missed each
great
other.
answer.
Yeah, yes. Well, thank you, friend. Um, I don't think I can say the same question back to you, but I don't know. There aren't any famous flies or anything on the planet or bugs,
Well,
really.
there is The Fly, the movie,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I do enjoy that, but it makes me hungry every time I fucking watch it.
I'm sure
So,
the fly is gigantic. Like that would
oh my gosh,
it would be
I
like
would love to come across that one.
be like Frogman
I
of
don't think my tongue's
Thanksgiving.
big enough.
Oh my goodness. Don't get your tongue stuck on the ceiling, whatever you do.
I'll
Uh
do my best.
yes. I don't I
Ribbit.
wouldn't know how to get you dislodged. Um where are you dwelling? Are you firmly in the wilderness, or do you have like a hut or something that you live in?
Chilling at the pad, the lily pad. But yeah, I tend to find a secluded pond, maybe even a swamp, and I just tend to rest there. Places where the humans I don't think can get to, but
Mhm.
you know how they are. They'll just barge right in anywhere.
I mean, you do seem well versed in television and film with your references. Do you just get out every once in a while and maybe break
I
into a
like
trailer here and there?
I like to read. I like to stay up to date. Pop culture is very important to me because I feel like that helps me relate to everyone. I've been around for over 200 million. I plan on being here another 200 million. I just want to stay up to date with everything. So, yeah, I hop around from town to town, watching movie after movie, listening to all the podcasts. Thank you for making one, by the way. This is
Aw.
great.
Glad you enjoy it, friend. Have you ever thought about starting a podcast of your own? It seems like everyone has a podcast these days. Like, if you are on Earth, you have a podcast.
It does seem that way, doesn't it?
Hmm.
I have considered it, although, this is an idea I kicked around with Nessie that she and I could do something, but you know how Nessie is.
Yes, I do love the dear creature, but she needs to believe in herself more. I feel she has so much self doubt. That one.
I agree. My idea for one, if I did one, is I would start the show by licking my own back and getting all trippy. And then whatever comes out, comes out.
So not only are you a frog man, but you're a poisonous trippy frog man. So, like,
I
if
could do
someone were
it
to
all.
lick you, they would get real fucked up.
Totally fucked up. And in fact, I actually would recommend not doing that because I can give you a controlled dose if you're interested. But if you just come up, tongues a blazing, you're going down, brother.
So what about all those women that have
Ribbit.
been kissing you? Are they so they walk away tripping and sad that they don't have a prince in front of them?
They die. Yeah, they just die.
Oh no.
Stupid princess. Trying to
Oh.
find a prince. I am not a prince.
I don't know. You're a prince to me. I think
Oh, well, thank you.
just a real a well-rounded and swell kind of frogman.
It'd be
Um
different if they liked me for me, but they don't.
no. It's all about the fame. I mean,
It is.
yes. It must be hard meeting other people. I mean, what are you looking for in a mate, if I might ask?
Ooh, you know, one night I was extra trippy and I would not leave Nessie alone. That's my kind of cryptid is, a little bigger than me.
Mhm.
That's okay.
Mhm.
I'm big myself, but for a frog. But,
Yes.
I'm only 4 feet tall. It's gonna be hard to find someone around my size. So Nessie being as big as she is, no problem with me.
Mhm.
But man, just so humble and sweet and caring. That's really all I'm looking for. And
Oh.
someone that will sit down and watch a movie with me
Oh. I love that. Do you think you
and
and
not eat sugar smacks. Sugar smacks are no good.
the Smacks frog? Oh gosh. How
Don't even get me
obnoxious
started.
how
That's its own
obnoxious can you
episode.
get? Yes. No, just absolutely obnoxious. It's like and skateboards are just they're done. Like why even do it anymore? Um well, do you think that you and Nessie might ever, cross that line from friends into lovers?
You know, I don't think Nessie is really looking for someone to settle down with.
Mm,
And I'm done playing the field.
mm-hmm.
I'm looking for my forever person.
Yes. Well, I
Oh,
hope you
well,
find.
not person,
Well, yes, a
of course.
entity, being. Yes.
Yes. And
Um.
hence all the interdimensional travel.
Oh, so trolling other dimensions for possible mates. Have you come across any prospects in there yet?
Not really. I have an app, but it doesn't really, everyone's just looking for a hookup, and that's not my style.
Oh, are you on Mythmatch?
Yes. I mean, who isn't?
Yes, I know. Well, I'm not, but that's just because I'm stubborn. Um, and I like my freedom. I'm like Nessie, we like our independence,
Of
and
course. And I respect it.
yes, and we appreciate it. Um, well, my friend, thank you for this conversation, and it's been so nice to catch up. But now we are going to move on to paranormal gossip. Recently, spaghetti monsters have been taking up residence in the sea off the coast of Texas. Not to be confused with flying spaghetti monsters, mind you. Spaghetti monsters have long tentacles and one big eye at the front. Several have washed up on shore, prompting the usual human reaction, which is fear. There's nothing to fear, humans. In fact, you may know their cousin, the jellyfish. You're cool with them, I suppose. So who cares if they came from another planet? It's not like you can survive in the ocean with some kind of breathing apparatus. So, you leave them alone, they'll leave you alone. Actually, half the ocean, I think, is from another planet. So, there's really nothing to be scared of. You just found another one. That's all. If you have a bit of gossip, a misconnection, or a personal ad to share with the show, please email thevampiretalkshow@gmail.com or slide into my DMs on Twitter, Facebook, Insta, or TikTok. So, have you met one of these spaghetti monsters, or have you talked to any of the sea creatures? I know you tend to stick to ponds and rivers and such.
Yeah, there's a saying that what happens in the ocean stays in the ocean, so I'm just gonna choose not to comment.
Okay, sounds good to me. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, my dear friend Jeremiah. This has just been absolutely lovely. It's been so nice to see you and to catch up.
Same on my end. This has been terrific, and I hope that our next encounter isn't another 200 plus years because this was just so much fun, Ribbit.
Yes, indeed. All right, well, that's all for the show tonight, kiddies. Remember, embrace the dark, the strange, and unusual. It just may embrace you back. Thanks to Evan Faber for being our guest today. Please consider becoming a Patreon member of the show. You can be a Baby Bat Sticker Club member where you get stickers every month, or you can be a Tarot Speakeasy member where you can get a tarot reading and tarot cards sent to you every month. Please subscribe on patreon.com/The Vampire Talk Show. This has been an Opus Nox Media production. To find out more, go to opusnoxmedia.com.